Mame fa na se ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de o se dem yopo.
Yeah, so so on the, let's say the larger part, I'm not surprised, but there's a bit of a surprise too on a smaller scale. So let's go to what I'm not surprised about. What I'm not surprised about is the removal from office. Oh, that one, it was always clear from the one that it will be, I mean, almost, well, let me be careful. Though the ECOWAS court has ruled, the Supreme Court is here to rule on her case. That one, I understand the judgment is on July 2nd or so. You can double check. So let's be measured. So I would say that I'm not surprised because one thing that's clear to me, let me break the case down. Simple. You see, the tickets Justice Torkornoo bought for her daughter and her husband, you will not find that she's entitled to do that in her own conditions of service. You see it. Article 70 and 71 office holders, no? Every periodically we have an expert is appointed to do a report, etc. Then the president will approve and all that. So what I'm saying is that when you look at her conditions of service, there is no policy or there's no provision inside there for those tickets. It was a certain policy the judiciary developed at a certain point, and that's one of the previous Chief Justice. And actually, I think Sophie Kufu, while she was in office, that was there. Yeah, so long story short, with time, it's been proven that it's an illegal policy. Simple story. So because that one is unknown to the Constitution. You see where the problem is. So it was always clear in my mind that as for the tickets, when you put all together, about 300 and something thousand, and so which form the basis for, her removal, that's the main plank of the case. It was always clear to me that, look, once it's public funds, even if it's one Ghana, you won't find a reasonable committee saying, oh, 1 Ghana is too small. A Chief Justice is a big office. So because of that, 300 and something thousand is no money. No. You see, 300 and something thousand is no money. I know in large sections of our population, that is the case. But we don't use the upper classes to judge. What we judge is that it's public funds. So that's money that should be available to the lowest employee to the highest. And let's remind ourselves about this. A lot of people don't know. There are millions and millions of our citizens who don't earn even 100,000 annually. So can say, let's make that point. Millions of our citizens, if you take their salary from January to December, put all together, they don't earn 100,000. So where you get up and say, oh, 300 and something thousand is no money. Yes, I know those circles where we say that's no money, but we don't use that for public discourse. Not when the Constitution is concerned and then the Constitution says we should protect public property, etc. You see it. So those making the arguments, oh no, this hasn't reached a level of removal. No, they are dead wrong. Even if it was 1 Ghana, once there is a leak, and you find out that you are not entitled to take the 1 Ghana, if somebody insists that the rules be applied, yes, we can only beg the person that, oh, when it's 1 Ghana, can we have mercy? Just like this one, you see how when this matter came, we're pleading that can she be allowed to resign? Can she be allowed to resign? But of course, she spurned the opportunity. She spurned it. But the record will show that at a point, President Mahama even agreed that she should resign. But she spanned it and chose to fight. And of course, it was always clear that she was going to lose that one. But right now, we still have the Supreme Court yet to decide. So we'll be measured and wait for the Supreme Court to also come out. I understand July 2nd. You can double check the date. But the main thing is that the Supreme Court has not yet decided on similar claims that she put before them.
And indeed, July 2 is a date to watch regarding those cases you referenced pending before the Supreme Court. But Counsel, you referenced what didn't surprise you in this ECOWAS ruling. Is there any element of surprise in there for you?
To the side, I was surprised, and so I want to see the judgment of the ECOWAS court. Is there two things. One, the time they were not allowing her to be accompanied by any person. You see that by the time we finished the debates, generally we were agreed that saying the hearing should be in camera, it's not the same as saying nobody should accompany her. That's not, if the framers of the Constitution wanted to say that she cannot get support from a family or friend, they would have said so nobody should accompany her. Because we all know that when you are going to committee settings or if you are going to court, you're allowed to go with people who want to support you, right? But to just say that the in-camera also meant that nobody at all should come with her. I think that one, it was bad. So I would say some part of a loss of dignity, etc., a bit of it, yeah. So the matter of the failure to give a full ruling on the prima facie, because at that point we need to keep beating it so that it doesn't recur. It doesn't recur. When President Mahama decided that there should be there's a prima facie, they should have held President Mahama, the system, with a full ruling, like what Okujeto did for President Kufuor when Professor Kweku Asare presented a petition for removal of Justice Torkornoo and it was thrown out. You see, the Kufuor's ruling came full one, giving reasons because of X, because of Y, because of Z. I refuse this. So we also, because we want to see how the decision was made. So those two, I thought she would have had something, but they are not sufficient. These two issues are not sufficient to cancel her removal. No, they don't reach that place. I've quoted this case ad nauseum, the Chachu-Chikata case, where the Supreme Court held that when a court is making a prima facie determination and the court fails to give reasons, like now we are advocating that it should be full reasons, it is not sufficient to say that that failure should then let the accused person walk free, or that failure makes the whole trial unfair that they will stop. No, they say that it just shows that the person taking the decision can be accused of bias, thoughtlessness, malice, right? But as for the side, they will not say because of that the person should be freed. So in this case, we're not saying that because JM didn't give a full ruling, then the whole removal is wrong. No.
Reference the pending cases, as a matter of fact, and you're right about it, regarding the Supreme Court also going to take a decision on these 4 cases as I referenced earlier. This is the panel expected to sit on the case on July 2. That's the date that has been communicated, Council, for a judgment on these 4 consolidated cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. With the fact that the ECOWAS court has ruled on this case and their verdict as communicated today, from where you sit, would it or can it have any bearing on these cases that are going to be adjudicated or ruled on July 2? I'm talking about the outcome of this ECOWAS court case today. Would it have any bearing whatsoever?
Yes, in favor of this in her, or no against her. So yes, because generally, depending on your confirmation bias, that the removal is right, confirmation bias, you would say, then in that case, it will be expected that the Supreme Court will even cite the ECOWAS court to say, you see, even ECOWAS court threw you out, we also throw you out. But it's also possible the Supreme Court will chart their own course, okay? So it can cut both ways. Either it's for her, that it will support her case, or it won't. Yes.
What are the odds from where you sit? You say the pendulum could swing either way. It could either favor her or not. But what's the possibility of either it favoring her or otherwise? Taking into consideration all the elements at play.
Generally, it's expected that as for the removal, it will stand. That one is very clear to me. I've already told you. Yeah, that one very, very clear for the reasons that I gave. But where I expect that she will win would be that the human rights part, that she wasn't allowed to be accompanied by any person. I'm expecting, though I know it's possible they will throw it also out, but that particular point, we will keep beating it till we make sure that in future the rules allow that. Come on, that's not the end of the world. The person is going to face a trial. The person needs 1 or 2 persons with her to give support. What is so very sensitive about not letting anybody. What is it? The audit report itself had already leaked. The petitions, even if they don't leak, let's use this. Even if they don't leak, the basis of the allegations are even public documents. It was an audit report that flagged those things. That audit report is a public document. So what is so secretive about the process that somebody to even accompany her is a problem? So as for that one, even if it doesn't win that case, that particular leg here about the human rights things, we'll keep beating it to make sure that we reform the rules to make them humane. Make them humane. That one and the failure to give a full reasoned ruling on the prima facie, these two things will keep hitting that. We will reform the laws. At a point, you see that because the conversation even went on, Majority Leader Mama Ayaga said they are going to come out with new rules. It's not everything that will lead to a removal. They will categorize them. And I mentioned that yes, that kind of categorizing the offenses is a very popular thing that is currently done in our public sector here. If you take the police service, the regulation CI 76, you see major offenses, minor offenses. You see prison service, Ghana Education Service, a lot of the public sector services. You see major, minor, even judicial service itself for the workers. There are major offenses, there are minor offenses. So let's do the same for the Chief Justice too, so that it helps to build our system. Yes.
But with a Supreme Court ruling here in Ghana looming, is the matter really settled? And the conversation we're going to be having is whether or not the development in the ECOWAS courts would have any bearing on what will be happening in the coming days here in Ghana. But as you might rightly be aware, it's a matter that has been developing over the last at least 14 hours. Earlier today, the ECOWAS Community Court has dismissed the case of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Torkornoo challenging her removal from office. This is one of about 5 or 6 cases. This is an unprecedented development in our country's history, that's in the Fourth Republic for that matter. And so you would understand why there was a lot that's been happening regarding the number of cases that are challenging her removal. The ECOWAS court case is one of them. She decided to test the law at the ECOWAS level. But earlier today, in its ruling, the ECOWAS court has dismissed all her reliefs, citing that there was no evidence of bias or motivation of ill will by the committee that had her petition or the decision of the president to remove her from office. So all reliefs just quashed by the ECOWAS court. But the Deputy Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Shremsai, put this notice out earlier today. We're going to recall the reliefs, some of which he was seeking from the ECOWAS court. And this is what Justice Shremsai put out. It says the ECOWAS Community Court has, a while ago, and this was earlier today, dismissal of all the 7 claims which the former Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, brought against our beloved Republic. One of the reliefs that she was seeking was a $10 million damages. The court held that, quote, in light of the court's conclusions that Ghana has not violated any of the applicant's rights under the African Charter as alleged, the court makes no decision on reparations. So that relief or the claim that she was making that essentially the country or Ghana should pay her some $10 million, that was not granted by the courts, the ECOWAS courts. He goes on to say, thanks again to our team of illustrious state attorneys who put in hours and hours of research to support the Republic's defense. It says, the year. Oh, that's just a shrimp side there. But there's a lot that's happening in this particular regard. And we're going to get there soon, because after this ECOWAS court ruling, that doesn't end the matter. Because as I did indicate, there are a number of active cases already at the Supreme Court here in Ghana regarding this same matter of the removal of the former Chief Justice. and the Supreme Court has taken a decision regarding at least 4 of the cases, the active 4 cases regarding the removal of the Chief Justice, and that will happen in the coming days. So we'll get to that in a bit. But my colleague and our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Christian Yale, put this question to some members of parliament after we learned of this development. This is what they had to say about the ECOWAS court's ruling. Take a look.
Basis the fact that this has never happened before in the history of our country. It was putting, the justice system into jeopardy. And so I was expecting a better response from ECOWAS, at least to see her case, try it and let us know that, justice is being pursued. If even the external courts did not grant the reliefs that she sought, I don't see how, internal courts here will do any justice to what she's seeking.
You have always maintained from the beginning of the case that Justice Torkornoo had no case. It is after you have exhausted local remedies that you go to the international front. You remember that the Attorney General filed a preliminary objection, which was put aside, and the court said that we are going to take over the matter. So it is done.
Well, beyond the members of parliament, these are the 4 cases that we're talking about that are still pending regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. This, the first of the 4, in no particular order, by the way, is a suit that was brought by the old Tafo Member of Parliament, Vincent Tekwasefwa, essentially challenging the decision to remove the former Chief Justice. That, and also one that was brought by CSOs, Center for Citizenship, Constitution and Electoral Systems, and then the third case that also is active regarding this particular removal is one by Theodore Kofi Atta Korte, and a suit filed by the former Chief Justice herself. So these 4 cases have not been ruled upon as yet and are active cases in the Supreme Court of Ghana. So here's what the Supreme Court of Ghana has done. It is not going to hear these 4 cases individually because a number of the reliefs being sought are basically similar if you look at it. So here's what the Supreme Court, based on the communication that we got today, they have decided that July 2 is the day for the judgment on all cases or active cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. July 2 is the date to watch. So they're going to put together all these 4 cases. They are consolidating all these 4 pending cases, the ones I just referenced. And then on July 2, judgment will be delivered on these former Chief Justice Torkornoo removal consolidated cases. It's 4 of them. So July 2 is the date to watch for the ruling on these 4 cases. Also keep in mind that beyond that, after July 2, there's going to be another judgment to expect on July 3. That's Chamawon Tumi's case as well. So within that particular week, in the first week of July, July 2, July 3, the courts are going to be busy with judgment and rulings. So we'll keep an eye on that. But this is the panel that will be hearing this case or the consolidated cases regarding the removal of the former Chief Justice. His Lordship Justice Amadou Tanko and His Lordship Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi, His Lordship Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, His Lordship Justice Senyor Jamepe, and then His Lordship Justice Sir Dominic Dennis Ajay, His Lordship Justice Afisata Amaleboba, and Her Ladyship, I beg your pardon, Her Ladyship Justice Afisata Amaleboba, and then also His Lordship Justice Kweku Teria Akabuafo, all there, as you see it. So this, and pardon me for the error there, that's Her Ladyship Justice Amaleboba, and then also these. So these are the 7-member panel that will be hearing these consolidated cases as we have it in there. So that's the date to watch as well, July 2, for these cases.
Whenever I say PENDREAM TV, PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.